Hi, welcome back to AFTV and welcome back to AFTV News Daily. I'm sharing the stage once again with Turkish.
How's it going, mate?
It's been a while.
Yeah, come on.
I know,
come on.
I've been away, you've been...
You can help balance out the negativity of, what seems to surround me right now with Arsenal and Turkey.
I'm worried I'm going to agree. Well, can we be positive about England?
Yeah, we can. It's coming home, right?
Apparently it is coming home.
Depends where home is.
Listen,
but I still think some Belgians and Italians might argue differently. But it's done very well.
Do you know, people ask me, what are you going to do if it's an England-Italy final?
What are you going to do?
I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to be lying there hungover because I'll have been popping champagne after the semi-finals, knowing whatever happens, it's job done for me. Go enjoy it. Now, look, I'm not.
You're a winner either way.
Well, look, I'm not going to do any kind of revisionism on this. I said, do you know what it was? With kind of the pandemic and not being able to go to Italy for so long, I'm not being able to see my family there. I've kind of missed them a lot. I felt, and also I always like an underdog. And people now are talking about Italy as one of the favourites. But think day one before we played Turkey, people were going, yeah, Italy will do all right. Yeah. England were definitely considered favourites ahead of them.
People were talking more about Turkey going into that game than Italy.
100% they were. And I was very much of the, well, Italy are kind of underdogs. I want to do well. I've not seen my family ages. They've had it. We've had it rough here in England in terms of the pandemic, but they've had it rough there as well. So I was kind of always like, let's go. But now Italy are considered one of the favourites. Yeah. Listen, I'd love if Italy did well. I'd love if Bukayo Saka and England did well. So whatever, we'll see.
Big up
and
Saka
everyone's chanting upstairs. I can hear this.
Having a whale of a time. It's a shame I couldn't chant when Turkey were playing, but
he scored a goal.
Fucking scored a goal. On to the World Cup for us anyway.
Yeah, look, let's go into it. We've got a lot to talk about. Actually, do you know what? I had this as topic one. While we're on it, Saka. He's starting games for England. I thought today, actually, talking about his performance, I thought very bright first 20 minutes. I thought Germany started to learn how to deal with him a little bit, crowding him out. There was no number 10, no one to kind of bounce off a little bit. But I thought he gave a good account of himself, and I thought for that first 25 minutes he looked our best player. Yeah. Sterling came into it, tired in the second half, but he's starting for England at a major tournament against Germany. Like, we've got a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, no one expected that. Big up Saka, man. I didn't expect it as well, and
I didn't.
More often than not, I tend to feel like when English players go into tournaments, they come at the back end low on morale and low on confidence. But Saka can only build on this. He's had a very good game against Czech Republic, and was it Czech Republic that he started against?
It was Czech Republic.
And then he started against Germany, which is massive.
Yeah,
massive call from Southgate there, because everyone thought he'd revert back to the Foden, and
that's very.
It's a shame for Grealish. Obviously, Grealish showed his quality when he came off the bench, but Saka, listen. We've got a star there. Let's just hope Arsenal can build around him well enough. I
completely agree. You were very impressed with this Sterling goal. We know this is an AFTV. We know we're not going to just talk about England the whole time, but with Saka playing that game, Sterling is someone I would love to see Saka model his game off. I think they're very similar. Low centre of gravity, quite direct, can play left and right. They've got goals and they've got assists. When I did that target man, which you can find on AFTV VIP in the link below, I was comparing their numbers as youngsters because I see a lot of similarities in them. Yeah. Lovely goal by Sterling.
Yeah, it was. Listen, Sterling's been the main man for England this tournament.
Yeah.
It hasn't been the greatest of attacking football from England, but he's been the one to get the crucial goals. Yeah. Obviously Kane added one at the end, and I guess for England that's big because to get Kane off the mark at a tournament again is massive, especially going into the quarters, semis.
Yeah, he needed it.
But Sterling, listen, Sterling faced a lot of critics. Even I said that he should potentially be considered not to start this tournament.
Yeah.
But he's proved everyone, including myself, wrong. That's something I want Arsenal and a couple of our players to start doing.
Very, very true. Let's go into the big topic.
What is the big topic?
I think we're going to talk about Granit Xhaka.
Let me not be a hater, people. Let me not be a hater. Let me come back to my seat. We'll talk about Granit Xhaka again for like the 50,000th time in the last 5 years. What are we talking about?
Well, the question of the day, you wouldn't know because I did all the prep for it, is are we going to regret this? Are we going to regret selling Granit Xhaka after the performance he had against France? He's having a good tournament. I agree with what you said off camera. We're going to go into that. He's not having an amazing tournament, but he's having a good tournament. Yeah. I saw some people saying he's been the player of the tournament. I strongly disagree with that. I don't know. Are we gonna regret? I've got my views, but I want to put that to you. I want to put it to the audience. We'll take Let's start with some positive. Imperative News says, big up my guy Turkish. So getting some love early on.
Come on. I think you missed Akib's. Yes, get out Turkish. I think you missed that one there.
Did
so
I?
It balances out a bit, you know.
Oh, well, Stan Kroenke's messaging saying, keep him for one more season. That's everything you're worried about. Go on. Give us your thoughts on this, man. Have we mismanaged Xhaka?
Have we mismanaged Xhaka? I'd say no, because I think central midfield.
You're a hater, man.
In 5 years, he's had very different midfielders by his side and in front of him. You know, he's had Ozil, he's had Ramsey, he's had Saka and Willian this season. He's
Partey now.
Linked up with Partey next to him. He's linked up with Guendouzi next to him. El Nene. Was he around when Cazorla, in the first year or so?
Yeah, they played a good couple months together in midfield.
I feel like he's had enough of that old excuse we hear with certain players, like Mesut Ozil, for example. We didn't give him what he needs around. Well, with Xhaka, I believe we gave him everything that you can give him around. Maybe not in abundance, in quality, but we've given him, partnerships where we hope to get the best out of him, or we hope that he gets the best out of another player, and it just hasn't worked. Regardless of the partnership we put Xhaka in, it just hasn't worked. And I know a lot of people do say he's had a very good season. He's been our best central midfielder this past season. But when you're finishing 8th 2 seasons in a row, telling me that someone's our best central midfielder or our best centre-back, it doesn't really fill me with much joy. So to answer your question, will we regret it? Not in my opinion. What do you think?
Let me play some devil's advocate, because I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying, but I think it's an important debate to have here.
Yeah.
And actually, do you know what? I'm not just playing devil's advocate here. I actually do mean this. Where I feel sorry for Xhaka a little bit, I think Arsenal and most managers have tried to use him as the main defensive midfielder in the team.
Yeah.
And actually, while I don't think he's the most dynamic, I thought he suited being more of the more box-to-box 8, where you've got someone who sits and then Xhaka's up. So then, if he misses the press, there's someone else. Mm-hmm. If he overcommits, there's not acres of space. And every manager felt the need to use him as basically the pivot with someone a bit more advanced either side. Now, I thought his best performance of the season was Chelsea at home, when he played with El Neni, and it was El Neni who sat. And Xhaka was pinging passes into Tierney, getting forward, gets a goal. Yeah. He was playing much more in that final third, because I think he's actually got the talent with his left foot. I think he's got the vision. So I think we mismanaged him in that sense. I think we always asked him to do something that, at least at Premier League level, never suited him personally.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any truth in that, maybe?
Some truth,
yeah.
But again, I feel like if I was to then play devil's advocate in return and say, if you do see him as that box-to-box midfielder who might add a goal or two there, who is he comparable to across Europe or world football?
No, that's a good point. When I watched YouTube clips, obviously, when he was back at Mönchengladbach, what struck me was I thought we were getting like a Yaya Toure. I thought we were getting a powerful box-to-box player. And actually, he didn't have that power.
Yeah.
He was still physical and he left a foot in, but he wasn't that powerful, dynamic box-to-box I thought he'd be. I thought he was someone who was going to do a job in our box and in the opposition box. I thought he looked like he had a bit of skill about him. He looked like he got forward. I always wonder whether maybe who's asked to sometimes do... You know, if you're constantly asked to do something, you might automatically become that. And what I mean by that is, I think he was almost asked at times, be the anchor, get it off the defence, knock it, sit, be disciplined, and actually maybe he always had more to his game.
Yeah.
And managers didn't try, because I remember when we had Lucas Torreira, who I thought had a very good first season at Arsenal. Second season comes back, he's being used as a number 10 / box-to-box, Guendouzi's a box-to-box, and Xhaka's the one who's sitting in front of a very immobile Luiz and Socrates. Yeah. You know, that's... I don't care what Emery's achieved in the game. That's appalling. Like, anyone can tell you that's never going to work in the Premier League. So I do see examples where I felt Xhaka was mismanaged. And I don't know actually who started in midfield with him yesterday. But, you know, one of his standout moments was the ping over the top. Because he can be more effective in the final third than I think Arsenal allowed him to be.
Yeah.
You know?
And... when he first came in, I know you thought what he was going to come in as. I thought he was going to come in as our Xabi Alonso. Not because I saw much of him, but because of the profile I heard he was. You know, he can sit, he can spray balls, he's got a good passing range. That's what I kept on hearing. Mm-hmm. Good passing range. So I think that goes a long way in telling us maybe why we feel this way about Xhaka, because no one really knew what we was getting, and 5 years in, no one really knows what we might be losing.
Yeah.
Because again, what is Xhaka's position? Yes, it's central, but we've just debated whether it's box to box, whether it's deep lying, whether he unlocks the person next to him, or whether the person next to him unlocks him.
That's a good point.
And I think that's the biggest problem. We just don't know what he is or what he excels at, or his primary position where he can have the best influence.
I agree. Andy Arsenal says...
Coming on, it's coming on, it's coming, football's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming, football's coming on, unless you're Turkish, it's coming. What did you say? He's still in it? Oh, sorry, I interrupted.
Bullying and harassment at the workplace. Where's the forms? Where's the forms?
Where's the HR department?
Where's the general manager?
Out.
I need HR. Do we have a HR department
Robbie
here?
is HR.
He is HR.
I've had complaints before, but no, he said, listen, I'm HR.
You put a complaint in, Robbie replies with his email. Unfortunately, your complaint hasn't, sufficed.
Info at Don Robbie. Oh, anyway.
But where was we before that hooligan come in to interrupt us trying to have a calm news session?
I heard so I went, tell him we're filming. It's just Robbie storming in, knocking the lights, destroying the set. Anyway, I agree with everything you were just saying about Xhaka, but let me bring this. I was reading a super chat. That's what I was doing.
That was it. Yeah.
From Andy Arsenal. Thank you for the super chat. He says, this is talking about Xhaka now, not Robbie and it's coming over and all that. He says he didn't play good for 4.5 years, and he had a decent season for half a year. Yep.
Yeah.
He ain't changing everyone's opinion just by one game. Where are the standards? Souček and Bissouma are better than him. I do have another super chat. Subhajit says, we've seen this script before with Xhaka. Plays well for country, flops for Arsenal. France offered him too much time on the ball and he needs that to play well. He has not offered that luxury in the Premier League. Also, he lacks consistency. Subhajit nailed it.
Yeah,
that is absolutely spot on. I'm going to bore everyone in the room with an analogy that I've not used yet on this show. Anyone who watches tennis, I know what people are thinking. Anyone who watches tennis, you got grass court, hard court, clay court, and they say there are players that suit the clay. It's a slower game. It's more about
Nadal suited clay more than Federer.
It's more about natural power, relentless rallying. I liken clay court tennis to Serie A and international football.
Yeah.
What I mean by that, it's slower, it's a bit more methodical, you've got more time. Xhaka suits that league more. He suits international football. It is no secret that Xhaka plays well for Switzerland. I don't know why people are surprised by this. He plays well for Switzerland. Kante and Pogba, especially Kante, normally he's at you, he's in your face. They were playing a back five, so they were outnumbered in midfield already. Well, not outnumbered, but they didn't have their three-man midfield they normally have, France.
Yeah.
And so naturally Xhaka's got more time on the ball. I'm not discrediting the performance he had. He did. You're only. What do they say? You can only beat what's in front of you.
Yep.
And he did that. And what's in front of you was still Pogba playing out of his skin.
Yep.
Was still Kante on the back of a resurgence the last 4 or 5 months where he's been unbelievable. And Xhaka was brilliant. But tournament football's different. It's kind of like for 7 days you kind of got to maintain the levels. It's a lot of football in a short amount of time. Over 38 games, Xhaka's never done it. I'm not going to have this. Well, last season he was very good. No, he came back. He was much better.
Yeah.
He still kicked the ball at Chris Wood and cost us 2 points at Burnley.
Still grabbed someone by the throat and got a red card against Burnley.
That still happened. And I thought he was cutting out the mistakes.
Yeah.
I think the narrative around Xhaka scapegoating him has always been unfair. There's 10 other players out there. It's always been unfair to scapegoat him. But is it fair to say that he has been a disappointment as a signing? Absolutely. Because I won't forget Brighton at home where he pulls down Solly March recklessly.
Yep.
We don't win that game, we don't get Champions League football. I won't forget Palace, the penalties, Bournemouth, the penalties, the penalty against Spurs. He's had too many moments where Xhaka didn't look like he was learning from his mistakes.
Yeah.
And so for me, I can't say that selling him is a mistake for us, we're going to miss him, but nor am I saying he's a bad. I think he's a good footballer and he'll suit Serie A as he does international football, and I think he will thrive under Mourinho, and I think he'll thrive in Rome.
I tend to agree
But-
that it comes down to the pace of the Premier League. Not every player is equipped for the pace of the Premier League. And even if we look at someone like Mesut Ozil, who came from La Liga, he didn't transition that form into the Premier League. Why? Okay, one, because Arsenal are not as good as Real Madrid, but two, also because of the pace and the physicality of the league. That didn't suit Mesut Ozil's qualities, and it didn't work out for him like it worked out in La Liga. Granit Xhaka, I feel like the same, coming through in Germany, a lot slower, a lot more controlled. He dictates the tempo. So when someone dictates the tempo in the middle, you can liken them in that sense to some top midfielders in world football.
Yeah.
But then dictating the tempo at Mönchengladbach coming up is different.
What's the great point you made about Hungary getting a point off France and their midfielder was man of the match?
So people, listen.
It's a really good point.
This morning, I've woken up to messages on Instagram asking me my opinion on Granit Xhaka, comments on pictures that have nothing to do with Arsenal. People asking me to talk to me about Granit Xhaka now. Twitter, same. DMs. YouTube even, same. Asking me my opinion on Granit Xhaka. What's everyone's opinion on Kaisenheiler or whatever his name is? None of you lot know, because that is the guy that got the Man of the Match award against France for Hungary, playing in the middle of the park, but because it doesn't fit an agenda, no one talks about it. At the end of the day, France, they drew with Switzerland. Switzerland done very well to come back, but it was a free draw. It was a draw. And Seferovic played a part. Another player played a part that I forgot to add. But Xhaka was in their top 2-3 performers. Now, because it suits an agenda, people will take that Man of the Match award and start asking me questions about there is a player there. Well, there's a player in Kaisenheiler as well. I can't even say the guy's name if you're basing it on Man of the Match awards at the Euros. And that's very fickle to do because, like you said, tournament football is very different. In fact, when we signed Granit Xhaka, 2016. Yes, when we signed, there was Euro 2016. I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, in the group games, Granit Xhaka had 2 Man of the Match performances.
Yeah, he played very well.
I think the first 2 games, Man of the Match, we had signed him just before the tournament, and we looked at those 2 games like, we're getting a player here. He was Man of the Match 2 times in it. But then the next 5 years hasn't worked out, and lo and behold, he's Man of the Match at another Euro tournament. That doesn't mean we now go back and start thinking, have we got it wrong? No, maybe what you just said is facts. It's very different types of football.
If there's two variables. Okay, let me put it this way. There's 2 main reasons why I'm not going to change my mind. And by the way, when I say change my mind, my stance on Xhaka is good player, not good enough to get us into the top 4, ready to move on, time for a different league. 2 reasons I won't change my mind. Firstly, if we'd had him for 2 years, not 5, 2 years, and I saw this, I'd say we need to do something to get more out of him. We're not doing enough here. After the last 6 months he's had and this performance of the Euros, there's more there that we should be finding a way out of. But it's 5 years. It's 5 years. And by the way, and I've not seen many, I'm not just even the big Xhaka fans, right? I was the one who said, when everyone was waxing lyrical about certain players, Aubameyang and whoever, Ramsey in those FA Cup finals, I was the one going, Xhaka was quality. Xhaka was quality in those games. Why are we not giving him credit? So I'm not a Xhaka hater. I'm not here to take away from what he's done well, but I'm also here to apply a bit of context. And when people say to me, but Emery, Arteta, Ljungberg and even Wenger all played him, and none of them in their time of having Xhaka delivered a good Arsenal, a good enough Arsenal, good enough even top 6 Arsenal. Well, actually, in fairness, they got top 5, but none of them delivered a Champions League quality level of Arsenal with him in the team. So I can't listen to that argument. I'm very pleased Xhaka's doing well. I think whether there's animosity between him and the fan base, I'm not sure. There probably is. Whether he's kind of got maybe a bitter taste in his mouth about Arsenal, I don't know. Sometimes it feels to me like he might. I think he may be
100%.
You think? I think he loves the players, the staff, and like the people he works at the club. I think he's definitely bitter about his relationship with the fan base. But whether that's true or not, I don't think he's ever allowed that to get in his way in terms of the way he plays the game and the way he plays for the club. I think he always gives his all. I wish him all the best. But I'm not going to change my mind on him. I'm sorry.
You're right, because these things can't change our mind. Let me give you an example. It's like Liverpool fans, and they haven't done this, not as far as I know. It's like them turning around after this tournament and saying to another set of Liverpool fans, saying, "See, why did we buy Jota? We got Shaqiri there. Why do we buy Jota? Shaqiri's there. Look what he done against Turkey. He banged 2 goals in.
Yeah.
Like, what was going on?
There's a player in there.
There's a player there.
Yeah.
Why didn't we use him more last season when we was out of the top 4?
Yeah.
That's literally what we're doing. One little game here and there, and literally everything we know of a player goes out the window and we start debating it again. That's why you're right not to change your mind off of this. I'll ask anyone out there, how many performances like Xhaka had against France has he had for Arsenal Football Club? I'll ask you to name 3, but you probably couldn't even name 1. Yes, we've got the the Wembley performances here and there, but I don't think they're anything like the one he done last night against.
He was sublime last night. I would say that we have got. I can think of some great games Jack has had for Arsenal, but I can't think of any great seasons. I can't think of any great spells of form. Listen, we're not here to hate on the guy. He's moving on. I wish him all the best of luck. We're just being honest with what we've seen.
It's a good debate, and the fact that you have to come out and say we don't have, like, we're not hating. I don't feel like you have to do that, but I understand why we do, because a lot of fans will dismiss our opinion because they have an agenda. They don't like Xhaka. I've seen a few people here already say Turkish has got an agenda against Xhaka, hence why I'd want him gone. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to be proven wrong, and that's in the best interest of Arsenal Football Club. And he's had 5 years to do it.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong, and you're not hating by saying he's not good enough, by saying he should be moving. You're not hating. You're not wrong. You haven't got an agenda. That's your opinion.
Yeah. My standards for this club are Santi Cazorla away at Man City. I think that's what a quality midfielder does. Doesn't matter if you're lightweight, smaller than the rest, not considered as good. You go to the Etihad and you put in a performance like that. And he did that at the Bridge at times. He did that at Old Trafford. We didn't always win, but Cazorla turned up and did his
Aston
bit.
Villa FA Cup final.
Right, and this is where, for me, admittedly, that's not necessarily Xhaka's fault. Xhaka's not a Cazorla type player. Like, I think a big part of it's profile as well.
Yep.
But that's what I want to see, more Cazorlas. I want to see more. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this in the comments, but I wish we didn't sell Coquelin. Like, as a squad player, I thought I liked Coquelin. I don't think Coquelin's any worse than Xhaka personally, but as maybe Coquelin had some of the performances that a Xhaka has at times. I don't know. There's kind of mainstream media performances.
But you see, if you ask me, can you pick out a Coquelin performance? During his time at Arsenal, I'd pick out that Man City one with Cazorla.
That's a very good point.
So we can already pick out one for Coquelin.
Yeah.
Who didn't get 5 years of consistent.
I'd say Xhaka at Wembley against City in those semi-finals.
But was it a Cazorla Man City, or was it a Diaby Liverpool type performance where that performance goes on that central midfield player? I feel like he done well in those games. And Diaby, how many games did he play for us? But he still has that one performance where we look at him and think, that was Diaby. Cazorla, same injury problem, where we look at that Man City or the FA Cup fan and say, that was the player.
It's a good point.
Granit Xhaka,
we use those performances as the marker of how good they were, whereas with Xhaka we say, he had a good day. Like, almost like he played above himself. Maybe that's unfair. Look, guys, we've got some super chats. Let me read them really quickly. Usopp says, Xhaka had all the time in the world in midfield. He doesn't get that in the Premier League, too fast for him. I agree with that. Kartik says, the best way to judge Xhaka is by asking, would he get in any of the teams who finished above Arsenal last season or any of the seasons since he's arrived? Probably not. I think that is a great way to sum up and round it off.
That's actually a very good point.
It's a very good point. For everything we've just said, fine. Does he start for any of those other teams? It's a very good point. Kartik with another super chat says, also the fact that he has never been linked to any team bigger than Arsenal probably tells a lot. Well, this brings me really nicely onto the next bit of news, although we do have another super chat from Andy. Thank you for all the super chats. Let's move on from Xhaka, guys. I think Arsenal try their best to keep him, so there is no point talking about him. It's Tavares that worries me. All Benfica fans hate him, and he worries me. Listen, I think Xhaka is off, quite frankly. So
I do as well, Andy. I do, but I wouldn't be surprised after that legendary performance against France that Arsenal don't go on to keep him.
Granit, if you see this, I'm trying.
Man are asking me about my opinions like I'm Swiss. I don't care how he performs for Switzerland. I care how he performs for Arsenal. Don't ask me about his performances for Switzerland. I don't give a shit. Honestly, do you really give a shit about how a man performs for another? Like, really, I don't care. So Granit Xhaka, well done on that performance, but we haven't seen it in an Arsenal shirt.
I think he's going to do very well wherever he goes. And apparently it's Juventus who have entered the race for Granit Xhaka. Let me say one really good thing for Arsenal about yesterday. The price tag's gone up a bit. I'm convinced of it. I think more teams are going to be looking at that and going, do you know what? Because let's face it, whatever we think of Xhaka, whoever buys him, they're getting a good deal for him. They're getting a European experience, Premier League experience in his best years, midfielder. For what, 22 million at best? At best, we're going to get 22, 25 million.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't... I've heard Juve, they're struggling in talks for Locatelli. They might look at Xhaka. Locatelli played him off the park in the game a couple of weeks ago. But if you're looking at actually what's a more affordable, efficient option... they're saying Locatelli's a £40 million player. Maybe if they just need some numbers in midfield.
You see what Juventus are doing there?
What?
Is what Arsenal tend to do. They have a plan A, but they go for the cheaper alternative plan B, who's not as good quality, but...
I don't believe anything I'm saying. I'm just trying to...
Nah, but I hear what you're saying, though, because it can open the door for us to Locatelli. But I know fans that are trying to do 2 + 2 = 4. Arsenal don't work like that.
Yeah.
Just because Xhaka goes maybe to Juventus and Locatelli's free again, we might just go for another guy in Europe somewhere else.
I know.
It's just like that with us. So I can't really get carried away with just because Juventus are linked to Xhaka, they don't want Locatelli no more. For me, I just need to get rid of Xhaka first and then decide what we'll do.
I read today that it was something like 12 million euros plus like 7 million euros add-ons, and I'm like, euros, so that means like 10.5 mil plus 5 mil, whatever. That is a disgraceful deal. I'm serious now. I'd rather Arsenal kept him than did that deal.
Yeah.
Don't let teams pull your pants down like that. Seriously, just say, listen, we'll find a player. He can be a squad player.
Yeah.
He can come in and do a job. We know he can do that. For me, my problem was that Xhaka was our main midfielder. Actually, that's the main problem. That he was always seen as like our staple main midfielder. Whereas if he was one of 3 or 4 that got game time, maybe didn't start the biggest games, wasn't the one we always relied on, or supposedly our leader, I've said, fine, okay, you know what you're going to get. But it's the fact that people talked about him with so much importance, and I didn't really see it. But don't do that deal, Arsenal. Just get more from him. Stop. Tell Roma. I can see Inter Milan coming from Juve to stop pissing around and do a proper deal. I don't know.
But do a deal is the key words there. Don't outprice him and put other clubs off. There's a balance to it.
You're not going to get 30 million for him.
Because across
but
the
don't
years,
accept 16.
Across the years, sometimes like Shaqiri went to Liverpool for 13 mil.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
But it happens sometimes. At the end of the day, I think we're better off right now without Xhaka because of what you said. It seems like there's something between the fans and Xhaka.
Yeah.
It seems like there's just something there that the fans won't let go, including myself, and Xhaka won't let go. So for the best of both parties, I think just now sell. But you are right. It's hard to say just sell whilst accepting that you're going to be bent over for him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we've been bent over in the past, so bending over one more time just to get him out, why not?
What's one more? Let's look at Andreas super chat. We're going to move on from this topic now. He says, I think it's unfortunate his natural style of play doesn't suit the Premier League. To let him reach the level he's capable of, we need to sell, reinvest, and accept that he'll be a much better player in a different league. I agree with that. Carty, again, thanks for all the super chat, says, Xhaka is like Mark Noble to West Ham. No disrespect to man, love him, but we need a Declan Rice kind of upgrade to Mark. Basically like Declan Rice was an upgrade to Mark Noble.
Can I just say, I think Mark Noble's better than Granit Xhaka.
I think Mark Noble at his best. There's a very good argument for that.
Yeah.
We've just got a super chat from Josh saying Laurie out. Laurie's not even here. And then Andy says, let's move on from Xhaka. Oh yeah, we've read that. Okay, let's move on to Patrick Vieira. Because we've been talking a long time. Patrick Vieira to Crystal Palace. He's on the brink of being appointed the new Palace manager. As we've seen from Tottenham, on the brink doesn't mean it's done yet. So let's wait and see. But I'm conflicted about this because I really want him to get a job in the league. So I see how he does.
Yeah.
He's an Arsenal legend, and I want him to succeed in what he does.
Yeah.
I've got no problems with Palace, so it's quite a nice club for him to go to. But he's not part of this proposed takeover, Daniel Ek.
That's the biggest thing for me.
If that goes ahead, does he resign?
That's the biggest
Palace
thing. Conflict of interest in itself.
Well, massively. You can't be supporting the ownership of a football club that you have heavy ties to, and then be lining up to beat them again on Saturday at 3 p.m.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't work for me. Unless he feels that, quite frankly, this Palace thing, this Ek thing is really 2 years down the line at best. That Kroenke's going to stand firm for a while, and that he's got a couple of years to do what he wants, develop as a manager, maybe take the Arsenal job one day.
Potentially, that's the way I'd see it. Because listen, Ek and Henry, I think it was, they both said it's going to be a long journey.
Yeah.
They both said they're in it for the long haul. So I feel like you can't really hold back Henry, Bergkamp or Vieira from job opportunities in between that time.
No, of course.
But I feel like they must have an agreement where if the Arsenal takeover does happen, then they're going to have, Vieira is going to have
significant roles at the club at least. Yeah.
He either continues on as the ambassador, maybe whatever role they have for him when Ek comes in, if he does come in, or you let him be a manager and he's not an ambassador no more, and so on. There has to be something there, but I've seen a lot of questions about Daniel Ek. Where is Daniel Ek? Like, what's happening? And I just want to tell fans not to worry yourselves too much about this. Let's not get on Daniel Ek's back now, and let's not doubt Daniel Ek, because taking over such a company, such a business, Arsenal Football Club, it's not going to happen overnight. And in general, who accepts the first offer? Who accepts the second offer? And this just goes for anything. If someone offered me something for this laptop now, I'd say no first time, I'd say no the second time, and maybe the third time I'd be tempted. It might take 5 offers, and so on. This is going to be a long journey. We cannot get onto X back because we haven't heard anything, because he hasn't made a third bid. At the end of the day, this is a chess game. It's a massive chess game. And the way Kroenke reacted to the first bid, saying we don't need your money, shows that they're not happy with Daniel Ek or the way he's gone about it. So Daniel Ek further coming out to speak out about it, coming out to say the third bid's coming, or wait for it, Arsenal fans, that would add fuel to the fire and potentially put Kroenke off of Daniel Ek. So he needs to play this well. He needs to balance both the expectations of us and trying to take away the club from Kroenke.
And whether... listen, I know people will disagree with me on this, but I've got the belief that Stan Kroenke, or mainly Josh Kroenke driving it, is trying to make this the Kroenke redemption summer. I believe he's trying to make this we did get Ben White for 50 million. Yeah, that's what City would normally do, but we've done that.
Yeah.
We are looking at James Maddison. That's it. We're 65 million. We're going to do what we can to get him. I think they're trying to make this their redemption summer, where almost for one summer they say to Arteta, what do you want? We'll get it. In the hope that they take out some bank loans, they move some stuff around, they try and make it all fit in nicely. Maybe there's a borrowed investment on interest from the I don't know what, but I think they're trying to make this the summer where they prove that they are ambitious owners. I think it's going to take just another year or two of the Kroenke's under delivering, although I don't want that because it means Arsenal aren't doing well. But it's going to take that, I think, for any serious bid from Ek to really be considered. But on the Vieira thing, do you think he'll do well at Palace? Where's he been? Nice? I think he's been New York. I think he's done fine in those jobs. I don't think he's done great.
Listen, Vieira's a legend and I wish him the best.
Absolutely.
But he's also said some things over the years that, remind me of good old PR and bending over for the people paying you and stuff like that. I remember last year he came out in defence of Xhaka.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
So someone in the chat reminded me, and I actually brought up the quotes now. And in November 2019, I believe it was, he said, I feel sorry for him because he's going through a really different period and really difficult time at Arsenal. Now, I'm not bringing it back onto Xhaka. This is strictly on Vieira. He said, but I think we have to remind ourselves that he's achieved a lot since he's been at Arsenal. That's where I'm going to stop reading, because that is PR, and that is trying to make yourself out to be a nice guy, good guy. Like, what has he achieved at Arsenal? And that's what worries me about Vieira, the way he flirted with other clubs whilst he was at Arsenal every season. He didn't reject the advances of Juventus or Real. Henry and Bergkamp are on another pedestal for me. Okay. So I wish Vieira all the best at Crystal Palace. But at the same time, I'm looking at more Henry and Bergkamp as, the people I'm going to listen to moving forward in this ambassadorial role.
Yeah, I hear that. Ash Goddard says, be good to see what Vieira can do. I sort of agree. I took exception to Patrick Vieira saying, well, Italy haven't beaten anyone good yet, so we're getting all excited about. And then obviously the team that apparently aren't that good, that Italy spanked 3-0, just knocked France out. So I took some pleasure from that.
Some joy in that.
Yeah, a little bit. Let's move on very, very quickly. Nuno Tavares looks like, by the way, I'm joking, I didn't take much joy. I like Vieira a lot, obviously, love him, club legend. Very quickly, Nuno Tavares, I've not got your thoughts. Very quickly, some weird stuff emerging that kind of about why Benfica fans don't like him and stuff, but let's talk strictly the player. profile-wise, age, his main attributes, YouTube clips.
Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing, and I'm very much liking the fee we're paying.
But what is the fee?
About 8 million. 8
well,
to
listen,
10
you
million.
can't argue
like
that much at 8 million. You know,
Yeah.
he's what is he? 21 years of age, I believe.
Yep.
Good age. There is worries there. There is a risk factor in it, as is risk in every transfer. But a backup left back. I'm not going to worry too much about who we bring in as backup left back. I'll worry.
But
about
you're happy that we're doing that deal? It seems like good scouting, good knowing the market.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I know Van Aanholt's on a free, and everyone was touting him, and I would have understood that. But at the same time, it seems like they've done some work and they want him to come in. We won't know if this is a success until, hopefully not, Tierney, gets injured or comes out of the starting lineup and we see Tavares. In an ideal world, your backups play 10 to 12 games a season.
At most, yeah.
Yeah, that's an ideal world.
In a league season,
Especially with no Europe.
Exactly.
So.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I'm encouraged by it. This is one. I mean, I can't imagine people complaining about it. Obviously, the people are, but I think the price, the age, the profile, the club he's played for. Yeah, get it done. See what we get. I mean, look, people would have scouted him, so if they're willing to spend the money and bring him to the club, they must think something of him. So let's see. The very last bit of news: Thomas Partey has been given the number 5 shirt.
Good news.
I like that. I like little things like that. I like. He wore the number 5 for Atletico. He was quality for them. Just seeing players in their rightful numbers, little things like that, I quite like.
Listen, it makes sense. We've made a mockery of numbers over the years too, so it's nice to kind of rein it back in a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I was very happy Aubameyang got the number 14. Yeah. Obviously, in between Henry and him was Walcott. Scored a lot of goals, but I think he wasn't really at it. I don't think Walcott was it, but yeah, Aubameyang wearing the number 14.
Imagine
that was quite a like.
14 went from Henry to Walcott, and 10 went from Bergkamp to Gallas. Arsenal Football Club, what have you done? But let's rein it back in. 5 to Partey, 14 to Oba. Let's just let's make it make sense again. That's what I've been saying over the last week. Arsenal have failed to make it make sense for a long time. Start making it make sense at the very least.
I'm going to say that so far, and I understand this question's over Ben White, I think a lot of what Arsenal are trying to do makes sense. Lokonga to me makes sense. Tavares makes sense. A new goalkeeper, if it is a genuine upgrade on Leno, and I hope that's Onana, although I like Leno, makes sense. So let's see if.
But no links to a starting right back don't make sense. No links to enough central midfielders don't make sense. And going in for Buendia, and then all of a sudden making centre back and left back your priority doesn't make sense. So there's still things in there. I agree with you. There's some things that are kind of lining up where it's like, okay. Yeah. But on the other side, there's some things lining up where it's like, a bit of the same. But we'll see, people. Make sure you guys hit the like button as well.
Yeah, like, subscribe, all that. We've been talking for a while, but there's been a lot to cover. There's always a lot to cover, and I always like sort of picking that Turkish brain.
No, I like this, isn't it? My favourite news daily is with James, I don't care if you tell Robbie or Cecil that. I like it with James because the perspectives are very... I like
That's because Robbie came in with the old "It's coming home," and Cecil does the "Welcome to 7 News Live." Big up Cecil, he's having a great time.
Hits his paper
wherever
he
is. I've not seen him. Where is he? People in the comment section of the videos going, "Yeah, Cecil's definitely been sacked." He's not. Okay, he's not. He's just doing something.
Not yet. We're trying to find something in his contract to let him go, but until we do, people, he's tied in. Not much we can do about it, people. You are allowed annual leave and that, so. I know. What can we do?
Thank you so much, guys. Remember, we're live on Don Robbie, just upstairs, on the Don Robbie channel for all the Euros games. AFTV VIP in the description below. Hit the link. 2 week free trial. $2.99 a month after that. All sorts of exclusive content. Watch us playing football, beating Cecil in Algier Touch. Always great fun. And that's it. Will we miss Xhaka? I don't think we will, but fair play to him. He's having a good tournament. I think he's going to have a very good career wherever he goes after this. Wish him all the best. Let's see what tomorrow brings for Arsenal. Let's see what tonight brings. It's relentless. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Straight away, back in.
See you soon.
Love, people.